Hello, viewers. Today I will be talking to Jumoke Bosede on the issue of men's sexuality and how it affects their self-esteem. We are going to delve into different areas, and she's going to explain to us first what men's sexuality is all about and how it affects their self-esteem. You will understand that there is a synergy between a man's self-esteem and his sexual nature. How a man performs in the other room determines how confident he might probably be in his business world, in his career, or whatever aspect of life he finds himself. So, Lady Bossidi, first of all, if you can hear me, first of all, let's look at your. I read a piece on your wall, which was very, very educative, very inspiring. What is your source of inspiration? Let's start from there, then before we move on to the conversation properly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alex. Thank you so much. Yeah. My source of inspiration has been the environment and the society at large. The environment and the society. Most of the time we have a lot of issues, going on around those, and this has been my source of inspiration all the time. Thank you so much.
Okay, now we're talking about men's sexuality. What is it all about? Because it sounds very big. It sounds like it's a romantic, or how will I put it, mountain. That what is men's sexuality? How does it regulate their functions?
Thank you so much. Men's sexuality has to do with the way a man is active in his sexual life, the way his reaction to sex. But then let me start by saying that research has revealed that there is no pleasure on earth that can be compared to the sexual pleasure. That means that there is no enjoyment or merriment or anything or picnic or tourist, anything that you think can give you pleasure on earth, or anything you can subject yourself to as a man, that the pleasure you will derive from it can be equivalent to that of sex. So we are saying here that the orgasm, which is the sexual climax, is the greatest pleasure, is the greatest thing that a man can experience in life in terms of sweetness and enjoyment. So, and that is the main reason why the scripture admonishes the singles to stay pure, to remain to abstain from sex until they are married, because of the fact that the way sex connects your mental, psychological, emotional, and even physical being to whoever you have it with. So it's not allowed to happen between the singles, because of the fact that it is the greatest force on earth. We are not saying that there are no other things that can give a man enjoyment or pleasure, but we are saying that sex is the peak of them all. So any man who has not experienced orgasm, that man has not been able to experience the greatest thing or the sweetest thing as far as the physical
Okay,
enjoyment
let
is
me let, let me let,
concerned.
let me let me ask you, because you said that the greatest pleasure a man could ever get is a sexual pleasure. So are
Exactly,
you
exactly.
indirectly saying that whatever a man does, whatever his achievements are, he channels them towards attaining that sexual pleasure because that is his greatest pleasure he will
Yes,
enjoy?
exactly. Exactly. Especially when a man is happy, he feels like he wants to exhibit himself. And the reason why is it that sex is the sweetest on it? Is because of the hormones that are being secreted and released during sexual activity by a man. It is this hormones that happens to be the driving force. The hormones are the chemical substances, and so they are the reason behind the man feeling happy, feeling good when is into sex. So some researchers, they refer to these hormones as feel good hormone. At times when you go on Google, they refer to them as happiness hormones. The hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin, prolactin, testosterone, and even androgen. So these are the hormones that are being secreted during sex, and these hormones are directly connected with the brain of a man. We biologists, there's a place in the human brain that is referred to as the hypothalamus. That region of the brain controls pain, relief, and everything. The intensity of a pain, the intensity of pain is being controlled by hypothalamus. So oxytocin, for example, is secreted from the hypothalamus part of the brain. That is why when a man has a good sex, he feels relieved because of the hormone that he just released from his body. So that is the driving force. That is the reason why sex happens to be the greatest and the sweetest pleasure on earth, because of the hormones that are being secreted during the production. And for the sake of emphasis, I will be repeating those hormones because a lot of
let
people
me
might want to,
let me ask you. For instance,
Okay.
if a man like maybe a young man who is not married between the age of 20, 25, or maybe towards 30,
Okay.
who is not sexually active, how does those hormone affect his being when it's not being released, since it can only be released through sex?
Actually, it has to do with the mind also. It depends on the mind of the man. If the man's mind is not there, if you as a man, you have access to a woman, the way these hormones will react in you will be it will be higher than a man that is not having access to a woman, or in his mind is not interested in, having any intercourse with a woman, because of the father is our mind. Even the scripture says, whatever you yield yourself to obey, you become servant of. So once the mind of the man is not yielding in obeying the urge he's having, those hormones can be suppressed. They cannot be removed finally, but they can be suppressed. That is the only thing. And so it is not a force or something that come upon a man and he loses control, just that it
Okay.
has a means of affecting his brain. There is a means why it can be suppressed, especially when his mind is not there and there is no woman available. Here we are discussing sexuality when a man have access to a man, to a woman. That is what we are saying here.
Okay.
So, and even that which you talk about, there is a time in the life of a man whereby when the semen bag is filled up, nature has his way of expelling some of it out of his body, which is known as wet dream. There is a place in the male reproductive system that is termed
Oh,
the
wait a minute,
epididymis.
because many people tend to tend wet dream. You mentioned wet dream. I have heard
Okay.
somebody talk about wet dream to be evil. That if you're having wet dream, that means you are having sex in the spiritual world or something, something. Are you saying
No,
it's in
no.
nature, it's natural for somebody to
It's
have
natural.
wet? Okay.
Yes, it's very, very natural. The person is just responding to nature because
Mm-hmm.
of the fact that when the semen bag is filled up, which is the epididymis, the storage site of sperm, when it is filled up, nature has the way of expelling some of it out of the body. That is why we are saying that these hormones, after they are being secreted, they must be released. They must get out of the body of the man, either by nature or by sex. So the person is not having any spiritual sex. The person is just responding to nature. It is not connected to spiritual at all. Yes, that is how a man's supposed to react. Yes.
Okay, now let's delve into because there was so many big things I read on your wall, how men begin to behave when they are not sexually satisfied, or when they think the partner is putting them down because of their lack of sexual performance, of being inability to satisfy their partner sexually, and how it affects their behavior. So you said something that they could be aggressive in nature, but please can you just throw more light on it?
Yes, actually, we have been able to establish that the sexual hormone has direct connection with the brain of a man, his brain, his mind, and everything. So that is why sex has effect on the sexuality of a man. Now, that's your question will lead us to what we mean by self-esteem. Self-esteem means an individual subjective evaluation of himself, an individual subjective evaluation of himself. That is a belief of an individual about himself. What you see about yourself, what you believe about yourself, yes, which can either be positive or negative, which can either be positive or negative. So here we are saying that a man's self-esteem must be high if a man will be able to forge ahead in life, because the way other people sees you is their own personal opinion about you, but the way you see yourself as a man is what you are interested in. The way you see yourself as a man is what is going to determine how far you will go in life. If other people see you as failure, or maybe you have some financial hiccups or some business issues, but personally you see yourself as a successful person, that, oh, I can make it, I can move forward. That is the most important thing that will make you to forge ahead in life. So self-esteem has to do with the way a man sees himself in his mind and in his brain. And for you to think about anything about yourself, you need your brain and your mind. Yes, anyone who has lost his mind, that person is not mentally stable. So we are saying that for a man to forge ahead in life, the man needs a high self-esteem. That means his brain must be correct about himself. His mind must be correct about himself. And the sex hormones that we have mentioned earlier, they are secreted from the hypothalamus part of the brain: oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin, prolactin, testosterone, and androgen. All those hormones, they are secreted from the brain. Now imagine self-esteem that is coming from the way you see yourself as a man, your brain and your mind. That is why we are saying that man's sexuality is directly connected to his self-esteem. So does it have a positive or negative impact? It's the mathematician, there is what they used to say, there is a topic they call directly proportional or inversely proportional. So here we are saying that the sexuality of a man is directly proportional to his self-esteem. That means that if a man is having a poor sexuality, it has a means of affecting his self-esteem negatively. Or when a man is talking him down, maybe he's depriving him or
Now
is having a negative feedback.
let me ask you something, because every man cannot perform the same in bed the way every other person do. Some will perform uh, somehow poorly, some could perform, maybe it depends on. But this is where I'm going to. Uh, when
Okay.
for a man to think that he's not performing utmostly in the bedroom, does it determine that what the wife responds to and how it affects him? For instance,
Ex
if I know, or if I think, oh, I'm not even able to satisfy my wife because she complains most often time that uh I'm not able to satisfy her in bed, or most often time probably say, oh, I beg, leave me, Jerry. Not be you do no, you don't come back, you don't everything, just bring the man. Does it actually affect the minds, the way he sees himself, because he's not being able to satisfy himself, his wife?
Of course, it does. It does. It does. When a man is either deprived or is, getting a bad feedback, or is being, his sexuality is feeling that he has a poor sexuality, what is happening in the brain of that man is that you are sending a negative feedback to the brain of the man. So such man battles with low self-esteem, inferiority complex and all that, because these hormones we are talking about, they are feel-good hormone. Now imagine when feel-good hormones has just been released or secreted from the body of a man, and the environment, that is the feedback, the results that the man is getting is contrary to what his brain is saying at that time. You see, there will be a mixed feeling. That means that the body is smiling, but the brain is smiling. The brain is smiling, the brain is happy, but the mind is sad. So that is a direct contradiction to what we are talking about. That is a negative feedback, and it will have a detrimental effect on the self-esteem, because the brain and the mind are working in opposite direction
Yeah,
at that time.
there's no
Whatever you hear
synergy.
as a man, thank you. There is no synergy. Whatever you hear as a man has a means of affecting your mind. So if your mind is saying you are not happy in your mind, and your brain is releasing hormones that should make you happy, you see there is no synergy. There is contradiction. That is why at times men misbehave. They misbehave because those hormones that's supposed to make him to be happy, they have been frustrated. So when a man is being deprived, his mind is being frustrated, he acts aggressively, he misbehaves most of the time. At times, men at times when they cannot control themselves, you see a 50-year-old man, raping 2-year-old girl, 3-year-old girl, because of the father, his brain, he has descended so low. Some of us will say, how can a man descend so low? He has descended so low because his brain is not thinking rightly. He's not thinking right. He's not thinking in the right direction because of the father. There is no synergy between the brain and the mind. So we cannot separate the two. We cannot separate them. So a low self-esteem makes a man to have a low inferiority, to have an inferiority complex and all that. So women should be careful because their words has a way of, affecting the self-esteem of the man.
I was actually going to come to that because I know of a man who confided in me that the most dreadful part of his life is nights because the wife felt that my husband is not able to satisfy me in bed. So whenever they want to make love,
Okay.
some kind of words that come out from the wife's mouth, it actually hurt him deeply that even he loses interest in sex. His body is not moved again. He's no longer interested in sex because he knows, oh, what am I going to perform? Whatever I perform is not enough. So there is no point. He dreads night and he feels he should just be alone. So how do you think women could help their husband who is passing through this phase, who is passing through this challenge?
Actually, that is the reason why we have to be informed. We must all be informed that once a woman is saying that to a man, that woman is killing that man gradually.
Mm-hmm.
Because once a man cannot think rightly, all those things that is saying to him is sending a negative feedback to his brain. He cannot, the man cannot. That is why at times you see men, the way they react, they are so peevish, so aggressive because of the father. This feedback they are getting from their brain is negative. It's contrary to the hormones they are releasing or they want to release or they have secreted at that particular time. So what we can do, don't let me digress, what we can do to that is that women should be careful. They should, cultivate a means of, looking for a loving way of, expressing this to their man, or they should go and learn how to be satisfied with what their man will give to them. Because no man wants a woman to talk him down in that area. He can't help it. He cannot help it. Yes, he cannot help. If you do anything to a man, even if someone is hungry, he can go and eat elsewhere because the hormones that has to do with hunger, I don't think they are that directly to the brain. They are connected to the, it's not affecting the man up to the compared to all this oxytocin that we just mentioned, which are sex hormones. So women should be informed. They should be informed that once you talk down on a man's sexuality, you want to run him mad. You want him to be mad. You want him to be, because this signal you are sending to his brain is very, very wrong. And we know that the brain controls every activities of the body. Yes.
So
So I
you are
think we,
saying how women respond to their disappointment in man, because some will tell you, I just have to express myself. I just spoke my mind, but not knowing the detrimental effect it's having on the psychic of the man.
yes, yes. The man feels unimportant, unneeded, not valuable, not useful, inferior, a lot of negative things. That is what the man feels in his mind. And of which this thing itself, it can be cured, it can be taken care of. There's a means they can solve it in such a way that if they see doctors, they know what to give to him. So problem that can be solved. I think we should be able to address it that way. Women should be informed. It's very, very important. A lot of women, they don't know the effect of what they are doing. They don't know that all these hormones, they are not what himself help. He can't help it. So at times men, they react that way because of the father. Their mental, psychological, and emotional being is connected with the brain, with all the hormones they are secreting at that time. And so they should be handled with care, especially with words and reaction from the woman. So the solution to that, maybe we'll still talk about women some other days, but here we are discussing man. Why is it that man behave this way, man react this way when they are being deprived or whatever? And so we've been able to relate self-esteem with sexuality. So women need to be informed. That is also the solution to it.
Okay,
Unless you want your man to run mad. Yes.
okay.
So
I think I spoke with a doctor one time. He said most of the impotency in men are psychological rather than being
yes,
some as most of them, a large percentage of it are psychological. That means
yes,
the man didn't just feel he's competent enough, or in his mind he have come to settle. Not that that is not the reality, but in his mind he have come to settle that there is nothing I can do. So let me just live my life because most often time what he have heard over the time, over the disappointment, maybe because this is starts like once, maybe the man was not at his utmost performer at a particular time, then he had a backlash from the wife, and it degenerated to something. It starts snowballing to a point the man start accepting what the wife says, that you are not man enough to take ride me on bed, and he becomes to he begin to uh, position himself along that line. But reverse would have been the case if the woman have showed understanding and worked with the man hand in hand to find solution. So I don't know if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, you
Of course,
correct.
they are very correct. And
Mhm.
your doctor friend is also correct. It's very, very correct that most impotency in men are psychological. It is very, very correct. Because of the fact that no man wants to be hurt in that area. So once a man discovers that, oh, this woman is not being satisfied by me, this thing, we said it has a means of affecting his brain. He doesn't want another clash. He doesn't want another problem. He doesn't want to disturb his brain again. So he positioned his mind in a way whereby those things will not happen to him again. We said it the other time that when you were talking of a man who is not married or is not interested in touching a woman, I said it's very possible because of the mind of the man is not there. At that time, he doesn't have access to a woman and he's not interested. When we talk about interest, that means your mind is not there. So gradually, once a man is hearing a negative feedback and insult, embarrassment from whereby the mind away from such, and at times that man might not be able to even be active again or have his erection because his mind is not there. Even though if these hormones are they want to trigger, they want to come, you want to secrete them, there is a place, there is a means whereby it will be suppressed because of the fact that the mind is not in synergy with the brain. Yes. So it's very possible, and your doctor friend is very, very correct that most impotency are due to psychological, problem.
Uh, uh, Now let's talk, because actually we are focusing on the men today. That if
Okay.
a man who find himself in this kind of situation, what will he do? Will he just accept his fate and believe, oh, there is nothing I can do, or there is something he can rise up and do and to help himself out, than taking what was told him as the fact?
He cannot accept it is not a fate. There is, you see, anything that has a cause most definitely has a cure, because a man should not accept his fate because of the fact that, oh, a woman is talking me down. So because sex is part of a man's life, it's because of the fact that we have not discussed the health benefits of sex for a man. This is question and answer. We still have a subtopic here with me, which is health benefits of sex, so that we will be able to,
Okay, yeah.
link it together.
Mm-hmm.
A man should find solution to it. Should talk to a doctor or find solution. Man should not. It is not a fate that man should not be able to, engage in sex, even especially if he has been into it before. So please, that should not be the resolution of the mind. It should find solution, and definitely will be revived. So I don't know if we can look at the health benefits.
Yes, that's actually where I want to
Yeah.
go, because you see, whatever does not have benefit and whatever does not profit anybody, why would you want to engage on
Mm,
it? So, what are the
okay.
health benefits to man when
Yeah.
he engage in good sex?
One of the health benefits of good sex for man, that is when there is constant release of oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin, prolactin, and testosterone, is that it improves the cardiovascular health. When we say cardiovascular, we mean the heart of a man. That is, it helps the rate of heartbeat. It helps the mind to be renewed, to be rebranded, to be repackaged, reformed. And so it has a direct impact on the self-esteem of a man. That is why a deprived man knows all kinds of evil in his mind. So it helps the heart to beat well. It helps the rate of a heartbeat of a man. It makes the heart to be in good, condition. Good sex also help a man's intelligence and give him new ideas. Yes, it gives him new idea. If a man is saying that, oh, business ideas are no more coming to my brain, I know more, I know, I don't know how to, talk to my clients and all those things. When he's feeling that he's getting weak in that area, the man should just go for a good sex. When he go for a good sex, after he release all those hormones from his body, these hormones as a means of renewing his mind. His mind will be renewed, his brain will be renewed, and then ideas will start coming in. That is why we say that it controls intelligence. It helps a man to be intelligent. And also good sex, because of the hormones that are released, it helps the gastrointestinal tract. When we say gastrointestinal tract, that is the digestive system of a man. It helps a man to empty his bowels, because all these hormones, they are probiotics. They are probiotic. What we mean by probiotic is that they are dietary. They help in digestion. They help a man to, to be free, to be his body to be light. When you empty your bowels as a man, you feel light, because of those hormones that are probiotics. And so we are saying that it's very important for us to know this. Sex for a man also reduce blood pressure. It's reduced blood pressure, which is also a measure of, a measure of the heart health. It reduces blood pressure. At times when a man has blood pressure, he has to take some drugs, diuretics, supplements, all those things. And all these drugs also has a means of, increasing the heartbeat of a man, whereby his mind will not rest. It also has a means of affecting his libido and even erectile dysfunction. But if a man is not having a blood pressure, he has a reduced blood pressure, he's breathing well, he's fine, his body is calm, we see that such man will not need to take any drug to be fine. So good sex also boosts the immune system of a man. Yes, because of the fact that there is a chemical that is called immunoglobulin A, which is IgA. So once a man has constant ejaculation, which is equivalent to the constant release of sex hormones in his body, research has revealed that men that ejaculate several times, they have more immunoglobulin A in their body system, which is an antibody that help them to fight disease. That means the man will have a strong immune system. Immune system is a system that helps the body to fight diseases. So we say that when a man has good sex, is even more than him taking drug, antibiotics, or whatever, because of the fact that these hormones, they are natural. I forgot to say it when we started that the hormones are naturally produced hormone. There is no injection. In fact, there's no artificially made alternative for all those things that can be compared to the one that is coming out from the body naturally. Good sex also reduce prostate cancer. It reduces prostate cancer in men. Yes, frequent release of oxytocin, dopamine, and all these hormones, they reduce the rate of prostate cancer in men. Yes, there was a time that, a research was conducted on 30 men, and, it was discovered that men that has about 21, ejaculation in a month. We are not saying 21 days in a month, but 21 ejaculation within a month, they are at low risk of prostate cancer compared to those that have ejaculation, they experience ejaculation between 4 to 7 times in a month. So, and the same sequence of research was conducted 10 years later, and the same trend of results was confirmed, which is a confirmation that good sex reduce prostate cancer in men. So you see that when a man is deprived, a lot of things that are negative will happen to him, his body, and everything about him. So after that, after sex, after ejaculation, that is when prolactin will be secreted. It's also an hormone that induces relaxation and satisfaction. Yes. So once a man has, released all these hormones from his body, after that, there is another secretion that happens after ejaculation, which is known as prolactin. This prolactin is, it's an hormone that induces relaxation and satisfaction. That is why the man feels relaxed and satisfied. He feels as if, he feels like a newborn baby who is just refreshing his life. So that is what we are talking about. And it is very important for us to know, especially women, because a man, if sex will happen to a man, the man needs a woman. So women they are to be informed. They ought to know all this, so that and all these chemicals, they also have they temporarily reduce both mental and physical challenges. They also reduce stress and anxiety and increase happiness. Yes, they temporarily reduce mental and physical challenges. We are not saying that the people that have mental issues because they don't have good sex. No, but someone that doesn't have mental issue, if he has constant sex, is not going to it will not be at the risk of having mental issue because of the fact that the brain is giving you a signal, and the signal is being responded to the positive way. You send a good signal back to the brain. The brain is working well. There is synergy between the brain and the mind, so everything works perfectly. So that is why when a man is deprived, a lot of things happen in his mind, which he himself cannot help unless God will help him. Thank you so much.
Wow. Honestly, I don't know what to say. Honestly, you actually you gave me you educate me like a kindergarten before a professor. I'm just like a kindergarten before a professor. Most of the things you mentioned and all the rest of the things. Actually, when you were explaining, I understand now why most of us will do things we do, because if we think if we cannot get it from one end, we move into another area, we could get it from here just to get that satisfaction, to make us feel good. Yes, I'm still a man. I'm still what I think I was. I'm still doing this. Honestly, I want to thank you, but we have to, because we have to balance this message also. We have to look at on the women's side. That will be another time, or maybe I don't know, we can reschedule. We have to look at, because women also have their own side, why they nag, why they feel unsatisfied, how they respond to things, what makes them to verbally attack their men when they think the man have not been able to satisfy them. So those most of the issue we are going to look at on our next episode.
Okay.
I hope you will give me the privilege to bring you aboard again so that we discuss this issue.
Of course, by the grace of God, we are learning together, and so we have to, bring information to the society so that at least we will be able to have peace. At times, you see men misbehaving, you wonder what is wrong, what is happening. So we should be informed. We should be informed. Yes.
So thank you very much. So I don't know. Okay, maybe we'll talk where we can have this, because let's have the balanced view from both sides so that we will not think, oh, this guy is biased. He only defends the men. He uses the woman to defend the men. That what about we us? So
We just have to say it the way it is.
the way
We
it
have to
is.
say it the way, whether we have to say it the way it's, whether it's a man you're bringing or a woman, let him or her say the right thing. All those things are research. Also, even if you go on Google, you see all those things.
All those
We have to
things.
say it the way it is.
Thank you very much, Bosede Jumoke, for spending your time with us this evening. We look forward to having you again. I'm so grateful for the insight you have given us on this program. Thank you very, very, very much. We deeply appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. The Lord bless us all.